with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company, alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational.
Yes, greetings and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. It's another Friday evening. Yeah, all over the place this evening. Sorry about that. Yes, so good evening again and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show and welcome to Real Entertainment Network. I'm your host, Banky. I'm my other host, Yason Tafari. This evening we have a lot to talk about when it comes to our future, when it comes to land, food, cannabis. It's already in the month where we discuss this, but at the same time we still got to incorporate other everything going on here in St. Kitts and Nevis and the future which is at stake when it comes to land policy, agriculture, and food security, and the way forward when it comes to our existence. Let me say good evening first to the folks in the Federation of Omega, which is St. Kitts and Nevis, also the folks in the neighboring islands, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the BVI. Not forgetting the folks over in Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, the whole Leeward and Windward Island, all the folks in the diaspora. Appreciate you guys tuning in also. Could be doing anything on this Friday evening, but you choose to listen to Real Entertainment out in the Everything Agriculture Show, which means you have an interest in what's going on when it comes to your health, your environment, and leaving the world in a better place when it comes to those who come after. Also, good evening to the folks in Europe, especially folks over in different time zones, in England, Africa, Asia. We have students all over the place studying and living all over the place, and also the folks studying agriculture in Costa Rica. Yes, and good evening to you. We've been getting a lot of rain on and off this week here, so it's very good. Nothing better than when it comes to the holy water. We make the plant bloom with all the nitrogen and different micronutrients and stuff like that. So always grateful when to get the rainfall and stuff like that. So one thing we got to do, so we'll get into water policy after you get introduction and land policies and all this different stuff, because we're really not capturing our water. We have too much runoff, and we really can do a lot in a sense like that when it comes to agriculture and stuff like that. Also, well, I'll get back into certain things after you do your introduction. So what you been up to?
Well, giving thanks so far, just continuing and going. Giving thanks just like you for the rains that's been falling, because even though we're getting the rains, we're getting a lot of humidity, a lot of sunshine. The place get hot, and so if it rains today, by the next couple of days, the soils water, the surface water that is, sorry, would have already been evaporated, and you still kind of have to top it up a little bit to make sure those roots at the top of the soil are still maintaining that sort of moisture that is necessary for optimum growth and optimum productivity. So, yeah, so far, so good. We see the wind down of the mango season. It's now guava and a bit of guinea or skinips are in still. Golden apples are coming in. And so, for those who are thinking along that line of doing more of a orchard style farming, it is something that I want to continue to impress on our people, so that even for those who may just be interested in backyard gardening and self-sustenance, the importance of having certain fruit trees. And that is one of the reasons why I'm focused right now on the nursery and in seeking to maintain and bring back some of these fruit trees that, we don't have, seemingly not being that common anymore. Things like, Mansiport and Shaddock. And one of the things that I've been marketing for the past couple of days and getting a lot of feedback, people telling me that I'm bringing back memories and so on, taking them back to when they were children and so on, is what we call the English plum or the governor's plum. I would have been marketing that a bit for the past couple of days, and the feedback has been tremendous, So it's just making me realize how much we got to zoom in on things like these and seek to replant a bit more of these, because as I am doing it, and I have to be advertising and saying I have a limited stock, because basically I just have about 2 or 3 trees. That is what I'm using. And I am thinking to myself, imagine if I had a 4 acres or so of just English plum, even 10 acres. And that is something that I would want to get into a little bit as we I will get into our discussions this evening, because one of the big topics that's around is the SSZ zones. And as they speak about it, they talk about it as another means of bringing in revenue and so on, and diversifying the economy and so on. And I want to really zoom in on the opportunities that are being missed in terms of utilizing the land for agricultural development, whether it is in regular crops like what I'm talking about, man support, shaddock, putting a 50 acres, 100 acres of some of these crops. The same English plum that I'm talking about, and other crops, We don't have a mango orchard, but we have a mango festival. We need to zoom in and have some lands with just strictly amripali trees, maybe another 200 acres or 400 acres of just strictly amripali trees. So these are some of the things that I would want to really look at when we're talking about food security and diversifying the economy. And this and these methods that I'm talking about will be ways that will be empowering our own people to do such. And so, yeah, Banky, these are some of the things that, as we get into discussion later on, I would really love to put on the table as well.
Well, let me see. Well, I've been getting a lot of calls over this SSD that you're talking about, and coming up in September 19th, September 16th, we have National Heroes Day, and then we have our independence, which will make 42 years since our independence. But I'm not sure, are we independent? That is the question. Are we independent? Are we just using the name hypothetically and just playing our people emotion? And is the motto country above self? Because the gentleman who wrote that motto, he's still never been acknowledged. So are we serious? We still never had a farmer being acknowledged or any teacher in the community being acknowledged as a national heroes. It's all politicians from the boys club. So are we truly independent? But what I've realized is that we are giving away a lot of gifts coming up for independence, and one of it is land. I've developed 40 acres as a fruit tree orchard at Indian Castle while my tenure at the agriculture department. I'm no longer at the agriculture department since I've left. That the orchard have to be deteriorated. It's so many functions have kept down over the years. Thousands and thousands of people and people from all over have came to visit that orchard. A matter of fact, I was called last week from the agriculture department. God, they had a delegation here from Anguilla, and they wanted to visit my farm, to use one of my farm as the stop for where they can visit to see how agriculture is going on in Nevis and the different farming systems. So my farm was one of the model they come to show them. So they came this Thursday. There was the Minister of Agriculture along with some other members throughout the water department and agriculture and extension staff, and they was blown away. I mean, I've been there for less than a year. October will make a year since this I started last year, August, developing the land and finishing October. And they are blown away with the kind of development, what they're seeing, how the farm is established. Like I've been there for over 30, 40 years. So it was kind of funny. They couldn't grasp it, because then they get a tour, they get jelly to drink, they end up and play some golf and different stuff. So my farm was the first visit. They really enjoy what I'm doing there and ask some questions and realize the technique that I use, no plowing is involved. I don't use no knapsack sprayer and stuff like that. I use the natural egrets when I cut the grass and stuff like that. The egrets come around, control my worms and this stuff, and I have my compost heap, and everything is well laid out and in mind of people who are handicapped. They can always visit the farm, so the farm is accessible to anyone, whether preschool and anything like that. And I'm still going to add a swing with with slide for children and stuff like that, because a farm should be family oriented at the same time. So you have to make it as friendly as possible and safe. And that is what my farm is insisting about. They see the watermelon have planted by just dig and plant and with seedlings and cut the grass between, and everything is just as fine. And it's the better way, because when it comes to heavy rain, the soil will not move. You see what I mean? You won't have any erosion like you're bringing in a plow and all these different techniques. So my farm was one that area that they visited, and they left with a very good impression. They didn't want it to leave because they were so full of jelly water and just the coolness of the farm and the aesthetics and stuff like that. So that was a very good impression. So I mean, it left the agriculture department, the director, I mean, they felt good about that first impression. And then they visited, so must big up Paris Leafy Green, my cousin Richard there, Chris at Prospect with his hydroponic system. And they was to also impress with that section and would like to implement that in Anguilla also. And then the Friday they visited different farmers who have animal and stuff like that. So they get to see a two different type, the crop system. Not sure they visited any fisher folks and stuff like that, but I know they visited some animal farmers and stuff like that. But yeah, son, over 400 years I'm counting, our ancestors and before had trod these parts, and they said something happened on the transatlantic where our ancestors was put in a situation where they were forced to work to benefit the Caucasian race, and even before that the Arabs and stuff like that and other races. But in this present time where we have become, and you have to big up and always give respect to Bracha for what he have done to get back the land in Nevis, a lot of these estates, and also those in St. Kitts, very important. But in this modern time, we have moved from 2005 from out of sugar, the agricultural sector, and have moved into tourism. But we have to remember the agricultural sector is what built Europe, England, and all these places. We got to always remember that. And those who control the land is who control the people. Your land is your independent. Right now, currently, we're living at just below me, and you ain't hear nothing from the Ministry of Tourism about. We have two sugar mill, which is standing on the island of Nevis, with the coppers, the engines, the motors, just the technology that was there at that time, hundreds of years ago, well preserved. And that the next one is over at New River Estate, where the tourism department is in control of that. Set it up nice, fence it, good. The one at Hamilton Estate, they have given it away to some Caucasian. We tend to like to use the word and say citizens. May not work with that. Native. There are certain things, remnants that have left that our ancestors have built and toiled, and these are the memories of us. Yes, it's us build it. Our ancestors are us. We are the new ancestors. We are who they looking up and call elders now. We was once in primary school. My last daughter is in just gonna start Monday, Ivor Walters Primary School. So 10 years. So you want to tell me the Hamilton Estate, my daughter gonna go to the Hamilton Estate where you have some Caucasian who know nothing about Nevis, and coming from South Africa with the apartheid state. Pretend I won't go back again, you know. When you see people come to this island or your island, listening to my voice and picking up paper and putting up signs, small signs saying keep the island clean, where they come from, they don't do stuff like that. People coming out in different ways, you know, pretending, smiling, the fake smile, and acting like they love the island more than the indigenous people. That don't happen. It don't work like that. They're coming in the name of spies, studying us as if like we're foolish and trying to learn our culture. If it's not in your DNA, it's not going to resonate and you're never going to figure it out. So those are waste of time. We don't have time to figure out who other races are because we know they're part of us. You see what I mean? If them don't know themselves, well, they have nothing to do with us, but we know who we are as an ancient person. So we don't have to get approval from other people of other ethnic group who gonna come. Anyone come on this island here have to come with respect. Respect the locals, respect the people and live amongst the people. They do not want that. They just can't find somewhere else to live. Because in all the locals on the island who like to pretend and talk up with and chat and ask questions about other people. And then befriend the ministers of government and all this different stuff and those in other places in society because of a few paper with some dead people on it. And think that that don't make no sense. We gotta go beyond that. Okay? Indian Castle, there was a next 60 acres of land that was cleared to continue development of the food security that have been sitting down for 3 years now. Started under Minister Jeffrey Zook, continue under Eric. 200 rolls of wire is at London Housing, sitting down along with electrical fencing and stuff like that. The first article, you cannot maintain 40 acres. The manager who is there here, you haven't had here the Minister of Agriculture mention the manager who is at Indian Castle, Steve Reed, which is his best friend, which he always talks so lovely of, and he's the children of Steve's children. He's the only father of Steve's children and stuff like that. He speak about these things when they're in front of you on the radio. But he will not hold this gentleman accountable for the degradation of what's going on at Indian Castle. But you can realize why they do not care about Indian Castle anymore, because they've realized now they have come like all of a sudden now we are using special as like Nevis is not special all the time. And now we have special sustainable zones. But everywhere Nevis is special, I live in a sustainable zone where I'm at. Yes, so you live in one the same way. So why this fancy talk to create a situation where you want, and with these zones you want to develop up to 2,000 acres or up to 4,000 acres of land? I mean, so let me try to figure out this. Who is the Minister of Minister of Agriculture? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Deputy Prime Minister? Premier, I mean, not the Prime Minister, Premier, Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Minister of Land and Housing? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Minister of Culture? Mr. Eric Evelyn again. So this one minister just failed the whole of Nevis. So now he sided with the Premier, Mr. Brantley, to give away and to encourage the vision to sell their lands to outsiders to develop one side of the island. So you want to tell me all these people try, the junior minister, go over to St. Kitts, the whole cabinet. The same thing happening in Nevis is going to happen in St. Kitts, you know. So it's the same thing. These guys is not thinking about developing an expansion of the villages within the island. And also, where are the future land earmarked for agriculture? Because right now, the poultry farm is supposed to be within that same area where the government have minister been seeking to get land from private owners. So how now you're not gonna? So you see why these things are not moving forward, because these all of a sudden this thing can just come up about this land and this development all these years. All of a sudden, it means this been going on for more than a year, 2 years, planning. So this thing is premeditated. So now the people have found out the truth from the premier, which he been lying about all this, that he didn't know about these things and so forth. But now, you know, he's gonna come to the people and explain. The people don't want to hear nothing from the premier and his cabinet and those over in Saint Kitts when they don't disrespect and violate what we ancestors have worked and toiled for by just hand. But you see, all these are independence gifts, you know, to the outsiders, the citizens who have passport to sit by investment. They are not looking out for our interests. Because if you were looking out for interest, how are you going to expand the area of Hanley's Road for housing, for recreation, Zion? Where you going to expand them go? Rollins, where you going to go up in the mountain top? All those, that area, we have the perfect opportunity to come up with a model, bring out 10 our top engineers or top architects and stuff like that, and develop that area in a modern city how we wanted it to be, to build by us, managed by us, and everything like that. Why we can't do these things? We have taken money from our CBI and given it to Christopher Harbour and all these other entities and stuff like that. Under all government, from Douglas to Timothy, which the same ministers in Nevis were some of the same unity government. When they make these bad, you understand, land policies when it come to over at Christopher Harbour, which they add to it. Then you come and add more to it. So everybody's a put and put. Douglas make it better. Unity come and make it worse, and then these are come make it worse. We have to start blatant. So those who listening understand what we say. So you know what that mean. Worse, worse than worse. We're making up things. So we're keeping it original. All right? Madness. No, these guys, the premier going up in his feelings and upset because, and then he followers who not thinking. For those who have sold their land, not knowing what the intention was, and now they know what the intention was, is an area that people want, that a few wise men want to develop and have their own community where only certain class of, can you see they love classes, eh? And I've realized that. I remember when these young Americans, when it comes to the rap industry, started getting hits and becoming millionaires and stuff like that. The Caucasians say, what? No, man, everybody a millionaire now. So they must switch it up to billionaires. Yes, it's just like you have VIP, then you have double VIP, then you got triple VIP and quadruple VIP. Me want to be around your son. So your son can't come up in the next double VIP. But your son move up, me move up too. Keep him out. Because the dollar count keep going up. Our people that we have managing us, some of them want to have a yacht. A yacht gonna cost them $300 million US. Some of them want a private plane. They gonna cost me maybe $400 million US. Then I have the maintenance in them yet now and the crew. Some of them still want the Rolls Royce with a chauffeur and a Bentley with a chauffeur. And they want an estate of over 34,000 square feet where they can only go sleep in one room. That's what I them, you know. Dead presidents are what got them going on so. And they're willing to do anything and take order from anything and anyone who wanna give the money to them. I know that. I know these things exist. Nothing wrong. That's what they choose to. But you're not gonna come when I have a 5-year-old think I'm gonna be around and accept these kind of things. No, we're not accept that. Those who have land in those areas, I ask you. I mean, you don't gotta listen to me guys saying, but I know down the road you're gonna regret this thing because you too will not be able to go into these areas if these things happen. So if you are being tricked to sit in your land for whatever reason it is, you all should get a legal team together and ask back for your land. If you all haven't been paid in full for your land, withdraw the contract. Because you're not gonna give me your land, I'm gonna pay you, whatever you want, you're not gonna do that. So why do it for somebody else and let them fool you and put your money here and there? Yes, son, yet I have I had yet to hear from the former minister at Zook, I still got a radio show, from the premier himself and also from the minister of agriculture, the land policy for Nevis forward. There is none. We are the land policy for agriculture. Which lands are earmarked for agriculture? Which lands, which wells are you drilling to supply water to develop the agricultural sector when it comes to food security and all the different stuff? So it shows where we are heading. We're giving away the Hamilton. We're giving away everything as independence gift. So this independence coming up, It's not about, I don't say I can post a going out with all the DJs in the Nevis to try and make the people forget about what's going on really. And then all the bands from St. Kitts coming up. Well, me now know where, you know. Can't nobody fool me. I stay in focus. Who want to go and walk up this and be entertained? Fine. But this way forward with these policies and what the Premier have done and his whole cabinet, I don't got respect for none of these guys who representing us. None. Period. That's the last straw. Because my youth ain't not one of them gonna go to the Hamilton estate where no Caucasian gonna be telling about and their ancestors has enslaved us and teach us all this way, and we never been compensated up to this day. That never happened. Never happened. Would not happen. They can. I have my own library sitting with all my history around me, and from the best and of the best historian, my own people. I don't need anybody outside of me to rewrite my history, which tell pure lies to make this, and then plus making money off of us, sitting and we ancestral ground, sipping and eating cheese and wine and all this thing, and laughing after us as we pass and wave by and this. What a people. How low can we get, your son? Food is what is important to us in my brethren. Food is very, very, very important. Our land, brethren, me, I grew up with a single mom, you know. 8 of us, you know. 8 of us. So everything I own is for my girls and them. I don't want nothing. And those who want to hold sides with the Premier and his concubines and going about this development is not a development that we want. We don't want to have 4, and then the Premier going to say, we might have 1 or 2 of that development, 1 or 2. That's a lie again. Can be more. So he just throwing out, playing with words. You understand? The people got to hold these guys accountable, and these people being their true self, they don't care about us. If the Premier so love Nevis when he speak about he walk up barefoot, he know how much Vienna sausage in and can because each of them have to get 2 or 1 and then he get that for the next piece and all. Them is just talking. Them is just pure crap. Entertainment. But them to know hold water for me. Because those things don't impress me because all of us go up the same way. But some of us are separate ourselves and lost themselves and think they're better than us. So when the Premier going to say, what's going to happen? Oh, luxury homes. My brethren, I live in a luxury home. Yes, and you live in a luxury home. Those who listening to me live in a luxury home. What are the Premier saying? The rest of the homes in Nevis are straw houses. The house that the government building are luxury homes. What the story is really, brethren. Nobody got a tree and these things. These guys got to come better than this. The homes at 4 Seasons not better than us, than where the people of St. Kitts and Nevis live in. So the Premier got to retract those kind of statements. And then when they're going to come and say, well, who have $1 billion? Well, you never want neither. But we have the resources. You don't have $1 billion, Premier. None of your cabinet does. But the resources that are there and the talent that are here, we can build our own city. So I want to know what policy are there for water. If you don't have water policy in place where farmers have to pay water, the stipend they're giving farmers for, that's not the stipend. Because I got a 4-acre farm. If me got to run water, how me have it? Me gonna live to pay the water bill, it would not be conducive. So I have to make sure set up my farm in a way where I have timers where water could be used in a sustainable way. The Premier to take out the word sustainable and special over the car. The whole of Nevis is special. So the bill ain't valid. The bill need to be retracted. The Premier need to apologize. And all of them, my best advice to them to exit Nevis and go migrate somewhere else. They do not need to be on the island. They don't have no interest on the island. So why do they want to be here for? They can't just leave. Because if you want to just give away the island, and then the whole of St. Kitts, the Prime Minister and the whole Attorney General, everybody just entertain this thing. The next Minister of Agriculture, Samuel Duggins. I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown away with these guys. Because I wouldn't fathom that you're going to tell me about India and Dubai. Brethren, I don't care about India and Dubai and all these places that have these things, you know. This place is only 36 square miles. Everybody know everybody. I might not get along with, I know somebody, but then I get along with their siblings or their cousin and not even know is their family member. You don't want to divide that and have an area where it's just for who? Some bias club people and the locals them can't go inside that area. No, that not gonna work. If they don't want to be here, they can leave the island. Right at the bypass at Penny's Beach, there is 600 acres of land at Penny's Beach. From by Nichols Hotel, go up to which part the Malcolm Gishard Park is. All that land back down to Penny's Beach. And you cross over the bypass roads, go over to Mount Travers, 600 acres. That land was given away by the same party the premier is on, under Vance Amway and Malcolm Gishard. 600 acres. Some one of them benefited off of 79 exact acres. I'm not saying 80, 79 acres to the exact. They were saying 80, but a 79 it be. Exact. That was a gift given to that person, in a by the land, a gift given to them. Okay? Because they bring that business, whatever. Nothing kicked off over 20 years. The premier now say you take back those land for the people of Nevis. There's an area near Nugent's Height, just where my good friend Llewellyn and my family them live at, and Hector and whoever and Tad Lescott and my director of agriculture in that beautiful area just above Coddick Road. The land don't still have in there, my virgin, so therefore we need expansion to extend Nugent's Height, so that 600 acres go up to Mount Travers. The premier should take back that for the people of Nevis, you understand, for the youth, for the people to develop as parks, as the same luxury homes you're talking about. Sell off land to the people, or he not see these things. Take Penny's Beach, expand the park, Malcolm Gishard Park, go right down to Penny's Beach, put in fruit trees, palm trees, flowers, and have that area down there as a boardwalk and a national park, and extend the beach bars, go right down to Penny's, like over the strip. But in St. Kitts, so what? These guys don't have this kind of vision. They don't want to see people grow. They don't want to see these things. Take back these land, my brethren. I've been telling Zook them these things for years. They're running around, but they want to encourage people to sell their land, and if not, put things in place, they're going to take their land. This not going to work. The people are very upset. I've been getting too much calls, and the people don't want to hear nothing from the premier. You understand? This is sad. The people don't want to hear nothing from the premier, and none his cabinet members, none in St. Kitts the same way. Yes, so that is just my piece for now.
Well, Banky, I listen to you and I listen to the passion that you have in expressing your views. And I as much as I mean, I am in agreement with a lot of what you're saying. I am opting to look at it from a different angle. What I am seeing in all this is failure of the people who we have been electing to represent us over the years. The failure of these people to do exactly what we have elected them to do, because we elect them to seek to diversify the economy, stimulate the economy, and have things working in a way that they don't have to resort to these kind of things. These things should be sort of like last resort. And what we are hearing from, and well, what we have heard directly and indirectly to some extent from the premier is this, that he threw up his hands in the air. He couldn't find investors. Investors, he said, came to the show, and when they come, eventually they walk away, or they run away, or they fly away, or whatever the case may be. So the job that we have hired them to do over the years in terms of stimulating the economy, bringing in these other investors, or seeking to empower even our local investors and developers, we are not seeing much of this. From what we see, to some extent, is more of, and what we hear is more of some of our own local developers being stifled in some way, shape, or form, not given opportunities to develop when they want to develop, and not being given some of the same concessions and all of these benefits and so on. So as I listen to the explanations and how they are seeking to sell this SSZ bill, I am disappointed in a number of things in regards to our people. And I think some of our people are being played into the distraction games and all of the different side topics and so on that is surrounding the issue at this point, instead of really addressing the reality that these politicians did not even come and consult with us before they went into the house to present this bill. They went into the house, present the bill, and it's only after getting the feedback and the pushback, so to speak, from the public, after the public started to realize, and also too, because of the sort of information and awareness that would have been brought about by the opposition government and Nevis, so to speak, mainly. We realize now that there's a lot of what I would consider damage control and seeking to explain after the fact and seeking to bring other things into focus that to me is not of really much relevance, seeking to, talk about the opposition representative and Nevis, Miss Daniel, and her selling of lands in the area sometime last year, and so forth, and all of these things to try to
Yes, son,
distract.
we have a call coming in.
Yes.
Let me take this call. Caller, good evening.
Good evening, man. Good evening to you, your son, the listeners.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Good evening to you guys. Hope you guys doing all right.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
I
we're doing good.
apologize. I wanted to apologize to the eye in a way because, I'm just dealing with a personal issue, and it's concerning my pops. It's not a secret. You know what I mean? And let's move forward real quick. The battle of the lands continue. And I want to really applaud you and your son for really taking up the torch and leading, in the discussions concerning the issues affecting Nevis, first, and the Federation, wider Federation as a whole. You guys been doing this for, and I want to encourage the people for listening to the item and really taking the education and the information and the knowledge that you guys have been bringing for all this time.
Appreciate
you guys
that.
are two Rasta men, and a lot of goes along with that in terms of society and other stuff that I really can't even talk to it too much because
Yeah, hello, caller.
It's in the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Rasta is in the heart,
yes.
and a lot of stuff, what goes on in life, it comes from the heart, and it comes natural. We are seeing a lot of stuff happening in Sinkis and Nevis, and we can't foresee everything. We don't sometimes, and it comes down to our politicians, our leaders, so called, the persons that we elect and put them there to be guardians of our affairs and our money and our lands and everything else. And these guys, they're not really doing a good job. And so we're seeking to find persons who can really step up, and try to bring that change that the people so desperately need, man. The land stamp is our patrimony. I cannot see how these guys is just looking to sell out the lands all the time. We are so tiny, we're so small. Okay, let me go back to the CBI program. There's so much money came into that CBI program. There's no way we should be spending like this, man. There's no way they're supposed to be portraying to us that they don't have the money. Where did the money go? Sinkis and Nevis should be in tip-top shape. So now we hear from our parents, no matter how much little or how much you're making, put something aside for a rainy day. We've not seen these guys doing this. These guys is just trying to use up the money steal the money, klepto the money, whatever terminology y'all want to use. The money is being mismanaged. Their priorities is mixed up. How the HELL, you want to take 6 grams of Nevis and just give it away to foreigners. And right now, we're concentrating on this grams right now. But when you start itemizing, like you have been starting to do a little bit tonight and from before, when you start itemizing all the lands that they have done give out before and put them with these 6 grams, half at Nevis is gone at least. I mean, I can't really survey in my, when I know, but if you wanted to want something with put the rest already gone. You mentioned some acreage, they gone. New farm, 4 season. The other 2 that I can remember off the top now. Now, this person has, why can't our local, the industry have conformed to have?
Carla, you're breaking up. You're breaking up a lot. You want to check your surroundings and call back when I get a chance? Cause you're breaking up a lot.
Okay, am I back now? Okay, right. Okay, we'll try to in a few minutes.
All right. Thanks for calling. Yes, son.
Yeah, Banky, I think the caller had a point there that I really wanted to get to when he spoke to the CDI and the billions of dollars that would have been gained through that, well, for lack of a better word, I would say scheme, right?
Yes. Before you continue, your son, just let me give out the telephone number. I mean, remember the telephone number is 1-869-662-7196, and you can also send your comments on YouTube or on Facebook, and Yasan will get the comments read and stuff like that. Yasan, you can give out your telephone number at the same time. Anyone?
Yes. So 1-869-665-8459.
Yes.
Those are the numbers to call if you want to be in on the program. Now, Banky, as I was saying,
remember also to share the live and encourage others to listen to the show, and every Tuesday and every Friday. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Yason.
Right. So we got billions came in. So when the premier asked a question about when he suggested that none of us have $1 billion to invest, this is one of the things that I am looking at. If we are really serious, or we're really serious, we have, as you mentioned, we have architects. We have young architects like, Akio Bailey, I see the other day, with a lot of different designs.
We have George Hunkins.
George Hunkins, all of these youngsters around. We have developers like Dean Daniel. We have developers like, Greg Hartman, Urban Jones. I see a lot of these people all around doing, serious development. Why not give some of these people opportunities to expand and also facilitate them using a couple billions of these same CBI money? Now,
all right, Banky, hold again. Hold your thoughts. Carla, come in again.
Yeah, no problem.
Carla, good evening.
Okay, good evening, man. I'm back here. Is it better now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let me pick up from where I left off.
Yes.
When we take the 6 grams that they're proposing to give away for an enclave, and you add it together with all the lands already distributed out, in my mind, I'm thinking Nevis is about half gone already.
Yes.
Okay, so then let me move away from that and mention one other thing. We know the kids are the future, right? We know the kids are the future, and the Prime Minister is still talking about a program called an Aspire program, right? But in my mind, this is what I'm asking the question to you 2 guys and the public tonight. If the Prime Minister so think that this Aspire program is so great, why don't he attach this Aspire program to one of these projects that's coming? Why don't they attach that Aspire program somehow when they negotiate them and attach it to any one of these projects that's coming, so the children them of our federation, the future, can really have a significant investment in a project, or even to hold on to some of those lands. It's not a bad idea. Down in St. John, right? They have open spaces where I think they call them like national parks.
Yes.
Why can't that 6 acres stay as a national park? Why can't it be designated to agriculture? Somehow buy out the people there, or even the local entities, right? The people them who don't have the money. Why can't we get even our local entities to buy out the properties, and they can lease them to farmers, to local people, whatever, man. Why can't the land stay in our hands? Okay, why can't they just take some of the land and cut it up? And if we're gonna just take Nevis and Sinki's land and give it away to foreigners, why can't we just cut it up and give it to locals? Why can't we do that? But I'm gonna leave it.
Great questions. Great.
I'll let other people chime in, and I'll let you guys do your thing. And then we've seen other stuff happening. The Indian castle thing went down, like your project went downhill. I mean, they don't want to keep nothing up. They don't want to do nothing to benefit the locals at all. Everything's about foreigners. The premier himself, he said he's tired of bringing people in, and they get the money, they leave them stranded, and then here we have him moving like he's desperate. Why did he put something like this? And he know that he's going to get the kickback. But I know that he's getting the kickback. How are they going to adjust? Are they going to repeal this bill and take it back? You know what I mean? And the man, him and Troy live with his last night, so I mean Wednesday night, and the man is acting like as if like they're laughing after the people, making jokes, saying that this is not no Sunday school stuff. Of course, it's not no Sunday school stuff. This is some real stuff. We're talking about people's lands that their families been had for decades. But I'll leave it there for now, man.
I appreciate it.
Man. Thanks a lot.
Yes, son. What the caller don't understand, this is actually a joke to the premier and his concubines and those over in Singit. They're not taking us serious, These guys have no respect for us. That's why they could have this entertainment and fool those who are following them and blind them, and they realize, well, every time the premier trying to do something, you shut him down. They're not thinking, yes, son. They not realize, probably those who are older than me probably have the next 20, 30 years to live, whatever. They don't realize the life expectancy of us, and we are fragile. We can jump out any time. My last youth may tell you just about start kindergarten, You understand? This school year, Yes, go ahead.
You see, I right now I am taking a different approach in terms of how I am looking at this thing.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying, yes, son, is that the people to blame. But you have to understand these people are under hypnosis, And me and your job, not because you is awake, you are awake. Let me say, you are awake. That doesn't mean everybody are awake like you and I. So you have to continue beat the drum, yes, son. I get you keep repeating that, I can say the same thing like you. So is the people being foolish, but there's some people just not seeing while we're sitting. They just believe. Okay, let me say this. I was in a business place, right? Buying some stuff. And I go inside there, manager some Four Seasons, some of them my family member, businessmen, business place, grown men, married men. And these guys in there having a conversation about the premiere and how they love the premiere. Me cash in well want to time there, I don't want to be dragged into the conversation. And these man ponging on the wall, Okay, you can see ice green and gold behind me, right? The wall green, white, and these guys are pong on the wall. If the premier come in here and say the wall, you blow, are you ready? You ready, I blow. Me look for me, right? And why look at these are people who people look up to in the society, and well respected and whatever. Because they have the people messed up. And if these people are think like that, grown managers that are in position in society and businessmen and going to speak like that in front of me boldly like that. And all the yes, you're right, it's true. And so I have to continue to beat the drum because I understand and over the mainframe of the people, my brethren. They not seeing how many, because when the premier hugged them up, I mean, you see, we got to teach my youth and not wait my youth to go to school. People teach them and teach them to love themselves and how my mom teaches us. Do not watch people for what they have. You don't know who they steal from, what they do, who they go sleep with, who they bend over backward to get what they have. God, there are those people that will do anything to get on top. There ain't no rules they wouldn't break, yeah, son. I could have got what I when left me want. I've been put in situation where people having conversation in front of me about three things. Anything you back you for, anything. You can't think about it. If it's $1,001 and you ask for a million, you can't think about it. Just giving the $1,000,000. You'll get many more, many more. These are conversations happening in front of me. Eh? After me a job, me no want to work, me all right. And they're having this conversation, they're talking to each other. But I know what the setup is. I don't care. Anything you want, anything. Three things now. Anything you want. So when the young people listening to me, because you'll be approached by certain people in society who want to be a part of the boys' club, but these are the things you will be asked. Full conversation, about 2 hours. I'm not going to do. I'm not want to work. You understand? Anything you want. Well, what in world me could think that me want? What I want? All the woman, all the land, all the money. What? Me want nothing. Whatever this hand give me take. Whatever bless you, I give thanks. All right. And here the last one. Anything you are asked to do, you got to do. And this is a brotherhood, international brotherhood, you know. That's what must be equal to me, you know. Who not just join and who potential people they see and all these things. Me no business. Because ain't no man gonna call my phone. I don't want to don't answer. Ain't no man gonna tell me to, you see, because you don't take. That's the rules. Remember, you know, if you accept, you have to accept everything else. This is the society we live in. And I want to go as far as and say also what was mentioned. The clergy, the churches, the carpenter, the mason, the top, everybody throughout society in our kind of places is a part of this organization. Virgin. So they do. So when you see these people doing these things, they are giving orders. Premier and all the can't keep but they're not a choice because they don't take. So me not ask me talk about first experience. If I was not raised in an environment with my uncle and my mother and they will put me in this position and tell me, do not watch people for what they have kind of to get it. Well, me know people get things now because these things was confessed in front of me. Three things. Anything your brother have and you ask for, you forgive it. Anything you want, you're going to get. If you're traveling in the world and you meet one of your brother who's a part of this group, he just welcome you, stay in the house. There's a thing of plated the blame out. And those who listening, I hear, I'm adding this to you, Virgin, because I don't listen every radio station that speak. I remember I was listening when Cleon Stapleton had her radio show and 2020 Vision Radio. And she was talking and she said, that's why I love the Masons. I said, okay, let me hear this conversation ago. And then she said, because they're so astute and so professional and everything is so in order and they're so this and this so that. So she need to come and explain what's going on around here because I seem like she know about these kind of things. So I smile when she say it. Because which means she around them. She understand these things. You see? Playing with people's emotions. Boys club. We're living in a society acting like we're homophobic and we're not homophobic. Any man gonna tell the next man anything you ask to do when you don't take whatever it is. Well, what the man ain't gonna tell you to do? What he ain't gonna tell you to do? This is what we're living and praising people. Brethren, when I see people out there got things and in a position, do not envy people. And this is how I speak to my youth. I always put your best foot forward and that's it. What your father can give you, you get it down the road. We have too much of things. You have some things you have, you don't even need it. We are just so I just had to say all this because these are the reality. So these guys are given orders. They don't see me and you as equal, brother. If you're in a part of this brotherhood, you don't exist. You do not exist. So we don't exist to them. That's why they're laughing after us, Burl. That are the reality. So nobody could come tell me nothing. And the next thing I want to do, you know, I who love to go and take our prostate thing, look and see who sponsor it. Go and look at the old one and see who sponsor it. And come back and tell me who's sponsoring the prostate thing when a 500 and 600 IO go and go get prostate. Who sponsor it? Because they put in on the sponsor, you know, I mean, could tell the sponsor, the Lodge of Mount Olive in St. Kitts. Large man, I go and get eye self fingered. You see? Making this thing normalized for IO. I supposed to know better. The same people I think don't exist are who having all this organization and having and that's the way it is. That's the reality. is these boys club, this brotherhood controlling the society and laughing after us. It's all a game. I don't want to be a part of no boys club. I grew up around females and uncles and stuff like that. I don't like males. But I don't even like when I go into places of somebody that touch me and pat me down.
You see, Banky, you see how you just say it's a game, and that is what I was alluding to. It's a game, and the politicians are playing the game very effectively. They're playing their roles very effectively. The problem that lies is that we, who are really the bosses, have been allowing those who are
Yes,
our
and you have a call here. Let me
take it.
a call
Take the
coming in.
call.
I'm not sure if you're coming in, but let me make sure the call come to me before I go live. Let me make sure.
Right. Yeah. So as Banky gets set up for that call, as I was saying, the problem is with us. We are not playing our part effectively. We are allowing them to divide and rule and distract us and bring in all kind of little sideway topics and so on to take us away from the things that we should be cognizant of, and we should be really debating and looking at. And as a result, like I said, those who are playing the game effectively are fully aware how they have the people. They know they have you divided. They know they have their followers who are loyal, like Banky is saying, that demand. Because listen, Banky, I mean, this didn't happen to me with a CCM individual, but this happened to me in Nevis with a person,
Yes.
a professional who was from St. Kitts. And this person told me straight up, if they put a dog, and this was an educator and a teacher,
Yes.
tell me this.
Yes.
If they put a dog to run for Labour, they're voting for the dog. So
Of course.
a lot of the politicians are aware that they have many of these people who are like that. So it's sort of like the gang, where, in a matter, even if the gang leader wrong, they're right.
Yes.
Their side.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so they are playing the game effectively. So, and they're seeking to divide us, divide and rule and conquer, distractions, play with your emotions, prey on your emotions, bring up whatever issues that they know you're going to get riled up on and so on, and you're going to run with and so on, and then you run with that. And that's the game that they have been playing, and they have been playing it very effectively. So, Banky, I am in agreement with you, that we have to be the ones who beat the horse, even the dead horse, and come here and say it.
Yes.
Continue to say these things. That is why also you give your version, and I'm saying that I have a different angle, and I'm just presenting the angle also, so that others who are listening as well could say, okay, I mean, I hear you, and I hear over here too as well. So because that is the thing. I mean, we the people now need to really realize our responsibilities. We are the bosses. These people are elected to represent us, and that is why it should be important for us to demand that they consult with us. So in a case like this, for me, where they would have already gone and passed the bill without even having any consultation with us, is a higher level of disrespect. And there's a lot of things that we don't know. So for example, like we hear that, for example, the Premier would have said that he has a proposal for Nevis in regards to this SSZ situation. Can the government of St. Kitts say the same for St. Kitts, that they do already have a group or a set of people who are interested in doing something like this on St. Kitts, or this was just rushed into Parliament to speed up, to facilitate this possibility on Nevis? These are questions that I mean, I have to wonder. St. Kitts, like someone pointed out, does not have that emotional and personal connection to land ownership as Nevisians would have, because it has been very early that Nevisians were allowed to own and buy back a lot of the lands on Nevis. So a lot of the lands on Nevis unlike on St. Kitts, where a lot is still maintained because there would have been a lot of estates in terms of sugar plantation, because the sugar cultivation continued on St. Kitts up until I think it's 2005. So there's a lot of lands that might still be under government, whereas on Nevis, a lot of the lands are privately owned. So, you know, to rush in to set up this SSZ, and then when we begin to peel back the leaves of these chapters, we begin to realize, okay, the reality is the SSZ, even in this Nevis project, we have to realize as well that the lands at this point do not belong to the government. So we can really say, so to speak, that the government is trying to sell out these lands over there. We can't really say that because the lands really belong to the people. What we have is a scenario where a personal realtor or real estate developer is out there purchasing and seeking to purchase the land aggressively, to the point where some people are even claiming that they're being harassed because they have been so persistent in seeking to get the lands from the people. It happens to be...
Yes, son. Let me interject. Rule number one, why would the premier even want the locals to sell out their land to entertain a development like this and encourage it as the premier of the island? Why? Even if none of the land is owned, because the government have owned land down there. Indian Castle and all them different is owned by the people of Nevis. So why, if somebody comes and sink it, why pass the bill then if they don't have no intention on developing this thing? You must drag the government into it and then pass the bill. So whether they own none of any land or not, the bill exists because they want this development.
To answer your question in relation to why would the premier want to do that, I can see two parts where we could answer that. One, we look at who is the realtor or real estate developer that is seeking to aggressively purchase the lands, and see if maybe directly or indirectly the premier may benefit from that. Two, the fact that the premier would have already pointed out to us, Banky, that he's not successful at bringing any foreign investment. They come close to the shore, they come to the shore, and then they run away. So he has demonstrated that his hands is up in the air in relation to, so he's at a point where anything that can make it appear as if that something is happening, he would be willing to jump on board with. And that is just how I am seeing this. However, here is where I think the people now need to interject. And, you know, Banky, I go back to what I listened to the other day when we interviewed the people from St. Vincent who are on the medical cannabis board, where they spoke to the government allocating 1,000 acres of land that they cut up and subdivided for traditional growers in the cannabis industry. Now, I am looking at the government claiming that they want to diversify the economy and so on. We have went all the way in terms of doing all of these legislations to make sure that cannabis is decriminalized. And they talked about cannabis as another cash cow, so to speak, and how, you know, the CBI was feeling and they would have seek to get cannabis. But they have been lagging behind 2 to 3 years now in terms of putting even their regulations in place so that the industry could move forward. And this is an industry that, if pushed forward, can empower the locals. Yes, foreign investment can come in as well, but it can empower a lot of the locals. But there's no special rush and there's no special zones created for the cannabis growers. There's no special zones created where they're saying food security is a serious crisis, and it doesn't matter if we're going to have these special zones that they're going to create. We need to be able to set aside 3,000 acres of land for serious large-scale farming development, like we're talking about things like mango. We're talking about a mango fest but we don't have any mango orchard. We're depending on mangoes that are just growing wild and in the mountains and in the hills and maybe on one or two people property and so on, even though we have so much that are being wasted. But we need an orchard. We need to get like a man support walk. We need to have, 100 and 200 acres of avocado. We need to get 100 and 200 acres of English plum, of shaddock, of coconut. We need to have this kind of development so we can really bring down the food import bill to zero, not even just by 30% or 25%. Literally that we don't have to import a lot of these things. And you went back and you talk about history, Banky. The history is that these Europeans who we are now looking to sell out these lands to, again, utilize the lands and were able to put our people to grow sugarcane and coffee and cocoa and all of these things. It was agriculture they were using to make millions and billions and build up their industry. Why are our leaders now who are in the position, who have the land, can't see themselves now investing in agriculture, not just in supplying the raw materials, but now seeing the need, like Abraham Traore in Burkina Faso, to invest in the machinery to develop the value-added products. So now we could be making our own avocado oils. We could be making all these mango products. We could be canning this, and we could be bottling this, and we could be, drying this and freeze drying this, and all of these different methods of preservation, and putting out packaged product which would empower our small business people, and keep the land. We wouldn't have to sell out the land. We would now be able to occupy the land and utilize the land to bring in foreign exchange. And though one may want to say that, yes, we don't have any money for it now, I dare say, even though I didn't fully agree with the CBI, because I saw the CBI in the same way as a part of selling back out the lands, and that was one of the problems that I had with the CBI, even though they eventually came up with different other mechanisms or means of it to qualifying without selling out the land. That was one of my problems. But now here is it, you're telling me that the CBI failed, which I had a problem with selling out the land. And now you're telling me, in an effort to show that you're diversifying, you're willing to now sell out even larger chunks and give away even larger chunks of lands that Bratcha. We're getting closer to independence. Why you are going to be talking about independence celebration when this is what you're seeking to do? You're seeking to do what? You are going to be celebrating National Heroes Day and Independence Day, and what you are should be celebrating what Bratcha was totally against. Bratcha demonstrated that he was totally, as a matter of fact, someone was telling me the other day in relation to the Constitution, when we were about to get independent, one of the things Bratcha did was took his own Constitution to the Queen. It was rejected. So, but that was the kind of level that the man was on, to show you that he was not just going to sit back and take what they were giving, and he was willing. I understand that, he came to the Bath Springs, and I mean, they were saying that he couldn't go, no locals can't go in the Bath Spring and so. And the man said, Bratcha, go in, take off all the clothes and go in the Bath Spring and tell them, okay, take me out of in here then. And if you can't take me out of in there, you can't stop nobody else from coming here. Because they had it that locals couldn't go in there. So, I mean, these are the struggles that we would have gone through. And after this, you all people want to sit back and just have these leaders willingly just take
dead president, yes,
and then put place to say that yes, we can forcefully take it away. If it becomes a need for a development, so then you might find, I don't know, if down the road now you find they sell out most of the lands, and then they only want these couple pieces, and these people are being reluctant. The government might be able to come in and say, well, okay, well, guys, you guys are giving a little bit of problem here, but we'll have to take the lands. We might give you something somewhere else because you're impeding a development project that is taking place here. I mean, like somebody was telling me in the case that was here, they said some people, there was a lady who were buying out a lot of lands here in Nevis, and there was some people who didn't want to sell them the lands. And what they did, they put on some floodlights every night that shine in the people yard. That frustrated the people was frustrating the people to the point where they really wanted now to give up. So these are some of the tactics that maybe you utilize, and people are find ways of frustrating you to make you want to move. But what I'm getting to now, Banky, though, we would have had the money within the CBI to invest in some of these things that we're talking about. And you're talking about $1 billion investment, more than $6 billion, from what I understand, would have passed through the CBI within those years. So we had more than enough if we wanted to empower people like, as I say, in Nevis, Dion Daniel, Greg Hartman, Urban Jones, I think I see Kevin Huggins and so on, and all of these other people who are doing developments on the island, who I'm sure, if given the opportunity, would have been willing to help develop areas over there and put some nice fancy projects over on those sides. I myself might have had a few projects I may want to expand and deal with on those levels as well. So
no, that's the whole point. Exactly. That's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm talking about. We can develop our land. But the key is these people is not seeing us as being equal. We are the peasants, you know. Can now remember, you know, these guys want their own private yacht. They are own. You see, somehow we have lost ourselves, and some of our people have lost themselves, and feel like the amount of numbers, imaginary numbers that have created on the account is all they consider. That worth it, but they won't regret it. I know that. You see?
If you look, these people are not hiding, you know. If you go and you look up, if you go back and you look up these people who are seeking to develop this project here on Nevis, let's deal with the Nevis project specifically. They would have had a website. I think they would have taken it down since the saga came up. Like, people started to investigate and look into what they were doing. They were telling you plainly what they're looking for and what they anticipate. And seemingly, they have found that within our government. So what I'm saying is, in a lot of cases, Banky, sometimes we want to blame, you know, the people them who are coming in. But at the same time, you have to realize they're capitalists. They are looking for certain things, and if they find it, then they will jump and take it. So that's why I keep saying it is our people and our elected officials who have realized that they are playing the game effectively, and they know the people who they have, and they know that they could come and do things like this and get away with it. That's why they do it. Because had they had people who would have been holding them accountable, generally, say, no, you can't just get up and do something like this, because if you do it, we're going to vote you out. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to call a vote on no confidence, or whatever the case may be. But they know that most of the people are going to grumble, and then they're going to say, well, that's why they keep saying ignore the noise, because most of what people are going to do is talk, and we're going to talk for 9 days, and then they're going to bring up some other distraction to take you away from whatever it is. And for example, Banky, this in itself might be a distraction, because look at it. We hearing anything about the fair share? We hearing anything about geothermal? We hearing anything about the hospital wing? All we hearing about is SSZ and all of these things that we don't even know if this project is going to happen, because up to this point, remember, as the Premier would have pointed out, that in order for them to even have any credence to start this project, they first must own all of the lands. So if at this point they don't own all of the lands, then the reality is we're just talking hot ear, because no project will start until these people own all the lands. They have to first own all the lands.
You see, what the Premier and his concubines them expected is the people to fall back and just love that and get excited and say, well, yeah, the people going to sell the land and everything going to be smooth as that. The people don't want that. The people understand the power of their land, and some of those land was passed on where they cannot even sell those land. But let me take this next call. Yes, on someone calling in. Carlo, good evening. Everything agriculture.
Yeah, good evening to you guys again. I figure I call in and just voice my opinion as much as I can.
Yes, appreciate that.
This issue here should take out these two governments out of the office on both islands. I don't care what nobody say. You know, that's our lands, man. Hands off of Nevis' lands and hands off of Sinki's lands by extension. You know, when we come down to the nitty-gritty, all these politicians, man, they are failure. And they know what's going on. You know, you see what they're gonna do? They're gonna just keep us divided. You see how Brantley throwing Janice Daniel Hodge, and they're now going back and forth like a tug of war. Yo, we don't need that. We don't need that. What we need is the citizens need to just go in the streets and protest and put the pressure on the governments on both islands. It's not just a Nevis thing. This is a federation of St. Nevis thing. And Yason is spitting some good vibes there. You know, he's digging into the details. And we just gotta listen to these people. When we listen to them, we know they can't be trusted. They're trying to pull the blanket over our face. The support, like once upon a time, we will say, they have another Rastaman or two on the Sinky side, or 3 or 4 of them. They will say, if you're not defending, you are supporting. We don't see these politicians so-called to lead the flock in the streets. We the people is who got the real power. We should not wait for them to lead us. We should lead ourselves. Man, you see all them ripe mangoes dropping off the trees in Nevis and Sinkers this summer here? Man, the protest movement, it is ripe right now. It cannot get no more riper than this. It's going towards being spoiled after this. Man, with all the chatter that's been going on for weeks and months and years, me myself already been on here for years. I could imagine how much other people been on these airwaves for 20, 30 years. We're still singing the same song. Man, I left Nevis in 1985, and we still don't. We can't supply the water we need for it. We are not seeing no equipment coming in at the ports. Not even a push lawnmower. 300 cars is coming in us in a small space, and not even one push lawnmower. Man, not even a hand fork to dig up the ground. Man, these people can't be real, man. Y'all had the people them on from St. Vincent recently, and the man is saying that they got the marijuana program going forward. X amount of lands is being divided up to the conventional farmers now there. And I'm seeing clips coming out of Sinkis and Nevis right now today. People's marijuana plants is being burnt up. These men can't be serious. They can't be. They're pushing the medical marijuana just to try to benefit themselves and the outsiders. And Yason has been pointing that out for weeks now. They deviated from that Sankofa case. They deviated from what the Rastaman them is asking for years, man. They said that this thing is decriminalized, but have they expunged all those who been having records? I bet you the money expunged nobody's records up to now. They still got people probably sitting in jail, and they're still locking up people for this marijuana thing. Man, get the Rastaman them, what the Rastaman them call it for years for their religion and other things.
Appreciate Carla.
Listen to the premier. Listen to these jokers. Man, we need to do nothing else but to go in the streets and protest. The protest movement is right now. Now, let me get my hands cleared up, man. I'll be down on the ground shortly, man.
I appreciate it.
Jack and my man.
I give thanks. Yeah, thanks for the call.
Yeah, man, give thanks, Banky,
Yes,
for the caller. As we continue, before we continue, let me we would have missed a number of comments, but I want to be able to jump in on some of them that are here, because we want the folks to be aware that we have to pay attention to the comments, and we do acknowledge your participation. So not just the callers we pay attention to, but we also pay attention to your comments. So Balby Jones says, independence, we are not independent until we can feed ourselves like Guyana. Very good point. Steve Mills, Yason, all you are saying is too easy. Too much of the people would benefit, and that is a problem for the government. Remember, the premier was opposed to raising the minimum wage, so that means he wants the people to be subjugated to him and his government. Carlisle Paris says, these guys bow down to the European new colonialists because they have not invested in any way to local development. These guys are dunce and cannot run a modern country. Balby Jones says the bill was rushed through, so in case anyone doesn't sell, they take their lands by eminent domain. Sylvester Josiah Mead says Nevis can combine traditional crops with modern techniques and agrotourism to boost food security, create jobs, and reduce imports. Youth engagement and climate adaptations are critical. Sylvester also said that the cannabis industry presents a significant growth opportunity if regulated and invested in properly. Otherwise, it risks being a missed chance. Steve Mills says, do you gentlemen believe that this just happened? I think not. This has been planned for years. The last election was the proof. By dividing the opposition, they have gained the advantage. It's not too late to change things. People need to get out there and protest. You know, on that last point, Steve, and this is why I'm saying that the politicians are playing the game very effectively and they're playing their role effectively because they know their people. And on the Nevis end, for example, the politicians are fully aware that the Nevisians generally were described as a docile people. They're not the ones who really get up and protest and march and like that. And the politicians
No,
are
no, no,
fully
yes,
aware.
and no, go back. They will get up and protest if they've been led by a politician, a preacher. So they wouldn't get up on their own. They love to be led. And then whoever leading, they're going to stay in the back. You see what I mean? No, they will get up. And they'll have to be led. They just do not get up
Well,
on their own.
okay, I hear you, and I would want to accept that, but I'm not sure if the evidence totally demonstrates that. In the sense that
Yes,
when we look
every
at
time they win a protest, it's been political. But by
okay,
CCM, NRP, those are facts.
yes, but
It's what
here it
it
is.
is.
When we look at comparison, St. Kitts and Nevis, I'm just using this comparison. When we look at St. Kitts and
Yes.
Nevis, when there are issues and St. Kitts and Nevis, in some cases, I mean, even if it is political, and in some cases it's not political, there are issues that the people
Yes.
would stand up and march and rally and go and protest. Sometimes, in some cases, if it's just a one-man protest or 10-man
Of
protest,
course.
you will see some sort
Yes.
of that level that demonstrates, even though it might not be a lot, it's enough to say, well, by some people actually talking about this.
Of
But
course.
on Nevis, generally, you don't see much of that. You don't see much of, and so the politicians are fully aware, and that is why sometimes they take advantage of the situation that they are fully aware of. It's psychology. They're playing games. So we, the master, that is why I am speaking to us. And this is why I keep bringing these points, Banky, so that we, the masses, can really realize our true power and stop allowing them to play these psychological games on us. And really, we get to the point where we can come together on issues that affect us as a people. It's not everything that we should go down the party divide, the party lines when it comes to certain issues. And that's what I'm hoping, that our people can really just be more open-minded and look at issues for what the issues are and call a spade, regardless of if it is your party. And if your party wrong or if your minister wrong, hey, I mean, this time around, you're not hitting it, you know? I mean, don't be afraid to do that. I mean, for me, that's how I am. I can't speak for, you know, other people, but that's how I am, and I will continue to be that way. I'll just be, you know, straight up. So
Yes, man.
the other thing, Banky, before you
Yeah.
come in, right, Banky, we the people too have to understand this thing. These politicians that we have are functioning in a system that was never designed for us. They have inherited what was the crown colony plantocracy styled governance structure, which continues to have that upper level and lower level and want to maintain a certain standard and maintain the people a certain way. And this is the only way they can lead, by having that upper class and that lower class structure, where you have one set of people up there making 10 and 20 and 30,000 and $40,000 a month, plus getting all of these perks and all of these things. And these same people up there think it hard to raise the minimum wage to up to $500 so that the average people, the other people now, can get even $2,000 a month. So imagine you up there. So that is why you find in the system, when these people down here who get in the $2,000 start to ball out and say, bye, then these guys up there who are accustomed to get the 20, it is nothing for them to give these guys now maybe a $500. And these guys are going to feel like, bye, this man has got to be a king because he giving me $500. I got to work a whole week to get $500. And this man going to just give me $500 one time, so and for them, it is nothing because the $500 is what the money get in per diem when they go on a trip. But to the average man, that means a lot. And they want to be able to have you in that way where they can continue to spoon feed you versus giving you the opportunity to empower yourself. And that's why I keep saying in terms of the agricultural sector, Banky, I know this would be something that you would say, that you would have heard me say all the time, that a part of the issue is one of the reasons why I think that they are not seeking to empower the farmer man. It's because the farmer man would now have his big house on the hills and his Prado, and you can't come to the farmer man and give the farmer man a little $500 and wrap up no shot and tell the farmer come vote for he, because the farmer is going to be in a position where the farmer will think for himself and independent and so on, and he'll be able to think and function and do what he wants. And so these are some of the reasons why they are not seeking to empower our people, which they should. And this is why I'm saying, even the rest of the world will be looking at, boy, these countries, they get so much of money through the CBI, and they're still here struggling, having to go resort to looking to sell 500 acres to bring in some people to say that you can empower your people by giving them some job where it is like servitude, because the jobs you're talking about is if you're talking 4 seasons. No disrespect to 4 seasons, because I worked at 4 seasons. So anybody hear me talking and saying what I am saying, know that I was a part of it myself still, right? But at the end of the day, most of the monies that is going to be made via that institution is going to be repatriated to 4 Seasons, an international company. What we make is a little bit from the taxes and the workers who are working there. And it's only in recent times that we are having some of our people getting up to that point where they're up at management level and so on. Because one of the things that they use were, you have to have even though you might have been qualified, you went out to train as a manager in the hospitality industry. They use a benchmark that you have to have 5 years experience, so to speak, in a similar position. So you will find now, even though you have the training and the qualifications, you will have to train a Caucasian or somebody of some other hue to be your boss, because they may have had the experience in some other hotel somewhere around the world. And so you find a lot of these things happening. So in these development, yes, it provides employment. Yes, it provides a lot of opportunity, and I'm not saying no. However, what would have been better opportunity is for me to know that that hotel was developed by, say, Dean Daniel or Kevin or, someone of our developers here, even myself. And then I am employing some 500 people and things like that. That is what would be empowering, and knowing that the lands would be left back so that these people and their children and grandchildren now can benefit from this, versus we seeking to sell it out to some people. And I mean, I listen to some things, and I'm just speaking because at this point I don't have the facts in front of me, but I heard something to the point where the average price of the lands in those areas, I'm using a figure, let's say it's $9, but the people who are seeking to buy the land is offering, say, $5.75. So which means they're still offering you lower than what you really could get at market value. And then if market value is $9 and they're seeking to buy it at 5.7, then they could simply, when they don't own it, sell it at 9 point whatever, and or after owning it, they could sell it for whatever. So then you might find, even if your grandchildren later on or great-grandchildren want a piece of land in those areas, when you have to buy it back, you may got to pay $1 million.
Which area, son? What are you saying? What are you really saying there? What do you mean, but area? The area is that for us? What are you really saying? That's a wrong highfalutin,
No.
because this land gonna be selling for $100,000, $100
But
US
that's what I'm saying. No,
a
but I'm
square
just
foot.
saying. I just use the example. I just use the example that if, for example, remember, while this is happening, our population is going to be growing. We have already also signed on to
Yes,
certain
man.
things. I see that's why I'm saying the distractions, because we have signed on to the agreements through OECS, where OECS countries can come to St. Kitts and Nevis. Anybody from any OECS territory can come. They don't need any work permits. They don't even need a passport. They could come on a ID, and they would be a part of the social security and so on. So we are going to have the population increasing. We are going to be getting more children and so on. And then with these special zones, if it gets to the point where we continue, like Barnes got, for example, where you can't expand anymore, there's not much area of expansion, then everybody going to be living in the parents' yard or building a little house in there, having to maybe go up a bill up top or whatever the case may be. Then you're going to find that there's going to be a rush for lands, and people are going to be wanting to maybe buy lands even in some of those areas. And that's what I'm saying. By then, the price of it would be so exorbitant that you can't afford it. The average Nevisian now would not be able to buy back a piece of land in those areas. And so these are some of the things that, I am looking at and saying that we are missing the boat in terms of focusing and zooming in on the agricultural industry, and also on the cannabis industry. And going back to the comment that Sylvester made, the cannabis industry says present a significant growth opportunity if regulated. Well, I think the government is seeking to regulate it. The problem that we're having right now is that the government would have passed the laws and have been pussyfooting, so to speak, in terms of the regulations. Because up to now, for example, let's go on the side where Sankofa would have argued for spiritual and religious use, and also personal or recreational use. We still can't go to the office and get a license or the requisite document to deal with that issue, and the 5 trees, and to get a registration for a lounge or something like that. These things have still not been organized. So how is it that you could jump so quickly to want to pass this SSZ zone, which gives the right to sell out so much lands to foreigners, and set up this special zone that you say is going to be so luxurious, as the word, luxurious, right? But you can't see the need to zoom in on an industry that can develop and bring in revenue and empower a lot of local people. It can bring in foreign investment too. And some of the land, because you can have serious, huge 100 and 200 and 300 acre cannabis farm projects and so on, where you get into, have everything there, where you have the facility to extract the oil and get into developing the vapes and all of the other byproducts and so on. So the opportunities along that line. Why are we not hearing that? Why are we not hearing that we're going to save 3,000 acres of land specifically for the development of agriculture, where we're going to have some large-scale avocado farm and some large-scale tanya and yam, and so that we can feed ourselves like Guyana, as Burl B. Jones saying. Because Guyana is documented as one of the only countries in the world that is growing enough food to feed ourselves. Why is that not a focus? And why are the people not seeking to ask for these things and allowing the government and those who we elect to get away with a failure at diversifying the economy? That's what they're saying to us, We have failed. CBI was one of the... Remember, they tried the CBI, and then they got so dependent on CBI that the CBI was actually nearly 60% of their budget. And that is the reason why that is because they were failing. They were failing to do what we hired them to do as the electorate, to diversify the economy, spin the economy, bring in money and so on. And they have been failing. 4 Seasons would have been the last major project in Nevis. Other than that, what has happened? The Premier would have been there for how many years? And no other serious project other than 4 Seasons. And now what you're telling me, after failing now, the only thing you could come and tell me that you're bringing as a savior is to sell out our lands? Bro, the last thing anybody would want to do when they run in debt is sell out their land. So then if you're telling me that's your first option, but then that means you have lost everything then? Because you don't got nothing else to do but to sell it out. And then you're selling it out. And here's the selling out part. That it just so happened that the real estate developer who is focused and trying to get these lands from private owners happen to be somebody connected to you.
Let's go back here again, Yason. As Mr. Mead mentioned about the development of the cannabis industry and diversifying the economy. Who is the Minister of Agriculture? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Deputy Premier? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Minister of Culture? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the Minister of Housing? Mr. Eric Evelyn. Who is the same Deputy Premier? Eric Evelyn. These guys are just like those parasites sucking on to whatever the Premier say and don't have no balls. These guys are just wearing G-strings. Whatever the Premier said, have to go along with it. Because look at Hamilton Estate. That is one of two sugar estates, you know, in its remnants with the machineries that the Ministry of Tourism have funded and take over the one at New River Estate. Now, this one they're giving out to, I'm going to use the Bantu language again, Wazungu. So the Premier and his whole cabinet, along with the whole cabinet in Sinkit, have turned and now named the Wazungu. Because yes, is in the Bantu language is for the Caucasian, the white man, or foreigner, but destroyer. It also means our own people too. If you are here to destroy your own island, your own country, you too are Wazungu. This is the reality. So coming up in the next month, which is September 19th, our independence, the Hamilton Sugar Estate is a gift to the Caucasian from the NIA, from the Premier and his cabinet. The 3,000 or 4,000 acres or 2,000 acres enclave or whatever nonsense. So still, the whole of Nevis is special. So I don't need the minister and his concubines and all of them come tell me, a set of a few men, that Nevis is special. Certain part of Nevis is special to certain people. The whole island is special. I don't want to come tell me about no luxury home. Because every house in Nevis is luxury. Okay? They need to done with this forward talking as if like we don't understand these terminologies and like everybody is living in straw house and mud houses. Those days are done. And even if my house is a box, it's still luxury. Yes.
Banky, watch it. If you happen
I don't
to...
yet, your son. I don't yet. Just make a point. Make a point yet, you know.
Just hold on.
Continue. Yes.
If you happen to lose your house right now, lose your car, lose all your clothes, but you got a piece of land right now. You not got no money, but you got land, and you got your seeds or your slips and your fruit trees and whatever it is. You can survive. You can live off of your land. If you got your land, you can survive. So I'm trying to use that simple scenario to point out to people the significance of having land. Because if you have your land, even if everything is taken away from you, you can use your land to start again. We go back to what these people use to make billions. England was built off of these Caribbean islands, the sugar, the coffee, the cocoa, the nutmeg, all of these products were grown here and they were able to go them free. And then they manufacture the value-added products, the chocolate and the sugar, which they end up using venous diabetes and all these kind of things over here, and sell it back to us. So Banky, we got the lands now. Why? Because our elected officials are failing in terms of bringing in revenue, because it was agriculture, and that was where we started from, the same agriculture, and then they brought in tourism. Then they come with CBI and offshore banking and all of these things. And all of these things that they said that they're going to do fail when they could have simply diversified. They kill sugar. Instead of just shutting the sugar, you could have even left some of the sugar that you could grow locally, domestically, and keep your own sugar, and then diversify into other crops. But now they went into tourism, now CBI, and now after all of these...
You have to remember, tourism. You have to remember, tourism is real estate, my brethren. Tourism requires your largest piece of land, your best land. If you're on the ocean living sink, it's coming across to Nevis, where Four Seasons is almost 400 acres. Then you have Mount Travers, which is nearly next 600-700 acres. Then you have Newfound, which is the premier, is a part of that same government that Vance Army, the farm, well, Vance don't go into heaven right now, shining down, walking on the gold and drinking milk and whatever. All right? We don't got fish virgin. Why don't they take back this land for the people of Nevis to build the same luxury homes, sell the lands them where we continue expanding Nugent Heights, because Nugent Heights done sold. Houses are built, beautiful luxury homes, if we're talking about, as if like luxury is a word just exists and is not pertaining to our people. So you can only mention like 4 seasons. What he talking about? Who he's speaking to? His peers are the blind man. Can you be speaking to her in the eyes of the blind, the one eye man? He's thinking, so I guess everybody needs blind and he got one eye. So he fooling everybody else because what he's saying, do not hold water, my virgin. So this kind of nonsense if we're talking when it comes to him looking down on the people of Nevis, them things don't work no more. These fancy words don't work. The people of Nevis don't want their lands to be sold out, to have no gated community and all these entities and stuff like that. Not even the 4 seasons is called special. Okay? So why he want to create something special? The whole of Nevis is special, my brethren. Newfound is 600 acres. By Penny's Beach, go up to the Malcolm Gishard Park. All those prime lands there could be used to expand the park and use it as a national park and have more beach bars going straight down to Penny's Beach, where more locals have get a chance to have a beach bar and be entrepreneurs and stuff like that. Put a boardwalk and all this thing. When you cross the road, you can use some of the land for housing, for a botanical garden, whatever. I don't care. Take back the land. They're not interested in this thing. This land been sitting down for 20 plus years, my brethren. 20 plus years. The same thing with Mount Travers. That these people in Martha's Vineyard, I wonder if we went to visit the Pennies up in Martha's Vineyard when he was there. Because it's the same place the ladies live in Martha's Vineyard, maybe in a different subdivision or whatever it is. But these land are owned by an next to the Caucasian again. So how these land is sit down so all these years and they don't want to take back this. These are prime land in the rain zone area, you know. Right up into the mountain, my brethren. We all see that. But we can't afford to live in those areas. The same land over on the other side of the south side, they call them wasteland. Wasteland. Oh, only animals and donkeys are over there. Nothing could go over there before. All of a sudden now everything it's good enough for an area to put the rich and the famous. But it's not good for us to develop, to expand the Brown Hill, Cox, Indian Castle, the whole of Gingerland, Butlers, Zion, all those areas. Those people who have sold their land, they cannot feel good knowing what the plan is. Because when the people was asked what amount of land is expected to develop, minimum 2,000 acres, the PM have lost his mind. I think he have Alzheimer's. He just love too much of money. Because where on earth? Yes.
Let's look at even Charleston. I mean, sometimes you really wonder if we are really serious about development. I mean, you come from Lush Street, because you already have Charleston is almost totally packed out in terms of building and structures. You're from Lush Street coming back. Look at all that project that have belonged West Stevens. You have West Stevens.
Look at Barnesgott, yes, son. Look at Barnesgott. The premier have allowed this Chinese man, his friend, because these people are the premier friend, you know. Every project is the premier friend. The same land of the premier friend is his friends. You see? Those lands should have been bought for the people of Barnesgott to expand housing for the people of Barnesgott. Not allow these people to buy this land around Barnesgott and they have nowhere to expand, my virgin. All these are willful acts. These are willful acts, you know, your son. And the people got to wake up and see this thing, because your land is your independent. Those who own land is who have the power. So if you don't have no land, where you're going to live? In the air, you're a bird. You live in a tree. You live in the sea water. You're a fish. You must need land. In St. Kitts, they're talking about buildings on 2,000 square feet of land. So how you want to build a house for the people on 2,000 square feet? But in St. Kitts, they want to give away minimum 750 acres. Minimum. Even they withdraw it, as the premier say, in a business, what is 100 acres and 50 acres? We're going to have to put things in place where we stop selling our land. What is private land? They got to go to the government, and the government take this land and pay them whatever the market value is or whatever it is. But from the way forward, no development need to be under more than 10 acres. That is the reality, my virgin. You go Palm Beach, you go Miami, you go New York, you see all kind of stuff. They ain't on 10 acres of land, not even 6 acres of land. So why do we want to give away all these hundreds of acres of land? Cannabis. So where the cannabis gonna plant? Where they gonna plant? With agriculture, where you're gonna expand to go for the future. There is no land policies, my virgin. Up to now, the minister can't get off the ground with a poultry project because he's saying they can't find no land. Yet they land in New River. Okay? But they cannot find no land to start a poultry project. This thing was promised that young people who just want to have 300 chickens, 400 birds, and different stuff like that, they will be allocated land and money will be there for them to go to development bank, and all the things have changed. There is a poultry farmer who I know who already bought a whole machine more than 3 years now sitting down. Up to now, when he asked the minister what's going on, he said he never know the billionaire costs much of money. Luckily, that person, so that is just money sitting down, a dry rotten right there. The minister himself buy a machine, he not even consult the gentleman at the abattoir to ask what is the best type of machine you'll use to work. They just do whatever they want, whoever they friend tell them out of this machine, and that's it. There was no consultation with the gentleman at the abattoir about this machine, none. So you see, these are just scheme, and then you pay somebody else rent who want your friend. These guys don't care, my brethren. The minister live in Hanley's Road. He's the minister of agriculture and land. There is no room in Hanley's Road to expand. But he want to join with the premier and lie about Hanley's Road, say their food coming out of Hanley's Road and the poultry orchard, and he never go down there. He don't go down there. He's saying on the radio is 5,000 coconut trees planted down there. He don't even know how much banana cheese is down there now because he don't even go down there because the manager of the Indian Castle Estate plow up all the banana cheese, let most of the citrus died, all the shaddock died, the coconut trees down there dry up. So you're going to come tell me about food tea. With the 2025, he have not helped one farmer, not one backyard farmer, not one single female who have that interest when it comes to farming, nothing. It's just pure failure. He in charge of culture, you know, and he give with the sugar mill, you know, along with tourism department. In Uganda again, there's a next gift given away for independence again, you know. I been working with the tourism department and the Ministry of Tourism for more than 9-10 years with the Mango Festival. I worked with Greg Phillip as the CEO. I worked with Devon as the CEO. I still work now with Fian as the acting CEO. Well, you know, the premier brings somebody from Dominica and put them. So, well, how you bring somebody from Dominica? You have Julie there. You have people staff there before who can do the work. You see, these people don't have no love for their own people. So if you have somebody in a position doing the work, Devon don't expand the Mango Festival as such an event. Anyone who just continue, you just continue because he don't make its name, it's done branded properly. Started with Greg Phillip, Devon added it, and Fian continue. So we're bringing somebody from Dominica. Give Fian the job, my brethren. I just give Julia, somebody, Cavell, whoever is inside there. Anyone inside that department can be the CEO. They will have to tell that young lady who is from Dominica about Nevis. How can, I mean, what is this? What is that? So they're going to find money and put up these people, give them housing, traveling, a vehicle, whatever it is. But they now want to pay the local these things. Something is wrong with the premium brain cells. You see? These things don't make no sense. Then, so that's why you see this environment going to be so toxic because they keep bringing people from outside to over the people who is there doing the work. The cannabis industry, we just had music festival went there, you know, where you have 14-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, because there's no age or ID to when you go on party, which means they could have came cannabis, you could have 4 joints, but no, you want to see the burning up weed. The burning up weed, you know. So what are we really saying? You're burning up the cannabis, they're not saying, well, what land are allocated for cannabis? What land are allocated for the 2025 or 2030 agenda for farmers? What water policy, what wells have been drilling? Because if you're going to be encouraging more farming, you need more water. You can't farm without water. What have been put in place? The minister is a failure. Mr. Eric Evelyn is a failure in this whole cabinet. They're just going along because for their money. They're not doing the work. I mean, how can you not hear the Ministry of Tourism utter one word about a project they're giving away, the Hamilton Sugar Mill, and nobody speaking about that? but they're quick to speak about other stuff, but they're overacting like this is a silent project going on
Where,
overnight.
where
And they
Banky,
can't speak about it.
where
Yes.
Banky, you ever heard the Minister of Agriculture in Nevis speak anything about cannabis? Have you ever heard?
Yes. I hear. You're calling on the radio show when we hosted on the mark for the film, and I asked him what is the way for cannabis, and he said, "Well, the federal government is leading the charge, so we'll just follow." What a man!
Okay, and that's the only
I
thing you
in
hear, right? And
2024
that's the only
in
thing you heard, right?
2024 I had a demonstration booth with over 200 trees, which was the best agricultural they ever attended. This year, those who went to look for the same thing when I was there, what about the park? Worst thing ever. Because the minister come and stay by the tent for 10 seconds high like a kite and run go about the business. These guys taking their personal thing about with he is the minister. Well, step down, my virgin. You have failed enough. You
But
have
Banky,
failed. You
but
cannot fail more worse than this.
here's the thing, Banky. We, the people, and this is why I say come back to us, the people, because we, the people, are allowing these guys to get away with negating their responsibilities. And I'm not just picking on Eric Evelyn, I'm also pointing out the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley and Sim Kitts as well, who is the Minister of Ecclesiastic Affairs and is responsible for the areas of recreational cannabis and religious or spiritual sacramental cannabis. And if you want a lounge, and if you want the 5 trees, and if you want the 56 grams and so on, those licenses are under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs. And at this point, nobody can go and get one of those licenses. But however, people trees are still being pulled up. And we are still going through these things. While an industry is supposed to be decriminalized, it's on the Gazette that these things are done, but the government has failed over 2 years to put the regulations together. But they can run in the House in less than a month and put together a SSC bill. So when I tell people to pay attention to the fact that after these elected officials are elected, they go and they take the King James Version of the Bible and they put up their hand in the air, and they plea allegiance to King Charles III, his heirs, and his successors. None of them plea any allegiance to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So when you're asking why they're doing these things and how they're doing these things, they're not playing allegiance to you. So when they come and they bring in whoever put over you, and when they come and they bring in the same Europeans to invest and take back what they done, being get ready and give them our kind of concession, even give them their own money to get it back, that's a part of not in any allegiance with you. And until we the masses, and we sit down out in the hot sun. I seen St. Kitts when they had the swearing in. It's out in the hot sun. People out there got on their tie and all kind of nice dress to hear these people go up and plea allegiance to King Charles and don't plea no allegiance to them. And so we're going to have these issues, Banky, because we have people who are elected who have adopted a system that was never designed for them and were given a constitution that all of them say that is flawed and is not working for them. But all of them still realize that the status quo benefits them when they're in those positions. And so they know that it won't changing, They know that it's not working for the masses, But it is working effectively for them. So the argument is, why break the battle? Why try to fix the battle when the battle has not been broken? And so if we continue as a people to function the way we function, Banky, them are going to continue to play the game because we acting as if we ain't know what's going on. We acting as if you
Well, the
might
game
be
over
muted.
now, yeah, son. We not play the game now. That's not going to continue no more because you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Because what has been happening now is the last straw. When you're going to come and give away your sugar estate, that are remnants of you, us, is we build them, we toil, we not getting no pay, and you're giving back these to some Caucasians. That is, you still give them 6 acres up in Hamilton Mountain, Well, within the department, I measure up land up in Hamilton Mountain, what I was told to go up there by the PS to measure up this land for the locals. Up to now, they can't get the land in them name, but in just like that, as a snap of finger, they give those same people 6 acres up in the same mountain, and
The
still give them the
local
sugar estate. The sugar
and
estate. See,
the locals can put $2 million in them and campaign fund when they want a little thing cost they do. And even though the locals now go give them $1 million, the locals now go give them a trip
the
nowhere and get them
locals
up and
already give you a job, my brethren. The
the local
locals already give you a job to represent as a representative to run the
you're not gonna
country, and
help
that
me
is
out
your
and
job.
by no
That is your
no
job.
me not playing allegiance to you. Me not playing allegiance to you. You must remember that you give me a job here, but me not playing allegiance to you. But anyway, we got a couple of minutes,
Well,
and before I want to wrap up with, I
yes.
want to be able to get in some of the last comments, and then we could get into our closing statement. So we continue. Steve Mills said definitely yes, son. Steve Mills said right now you are both on the right track, but I'm not sure what the people are going to do about the issue at hand. Steve Mills again says, imagine if we are self-sufficient and have excess. The other islands that are not, imagine helping us to feed them and imagine that. Bobby Jones said if they get their hands on those lands, it's going to create a demand out of this world. When Four Seasons came, the land prices shot through the roof. When they get them 6 square miles of land, is going to create such a demand on Nevis, the locals won't be able to buy the rest of the lands again. Steve Mills says, Banky, do you remember when there were farmers planting sweet potatoes just south of Saddle Hill? Gigi said, exactly,
I
yes,
heard of the
son.
stories. I heard of the stories about that. Yeah.
Okay. Bobby Jones said, yes, son, go find out how much Four Seasons selling those villas for under the public benefit option through the CBI. Four Seasons is making a shitload of money off our lands. They're doing the same thing that Christoph Harbour is doing. They will do the same thing on the south side of Nevis if they get their hands on those lands. They will turn St. Kitts and Nevis, being a smaller of the two islands, Nevis will become like Dubai. The premier said it, Singapore. Imagine Nevis being like Manhattan. Expand your horizons, bro. Gigi Williams Keith says, and don't forget that imported foods is full of chemicals. Tamaki says, truth me buy. Carlisle Paris says, dunce, dunce, dunce. Steve Mills says, I mean, above Cox, heading towards Roland Bush. There were farmers farming there in the past. Gigi says, wow, wow, wow. Bobby Jones says, Mark has lost his way. If he knows he's going to drag Nevis through the dirt like this, he should just resign. He himself said on a soundbite that 2-term limits, yet he does not want to give it up. Premier always talking about high end. Land is gold. Remember, the value doesn't depreciate. Wow, wow, wow. Bobby Jones said, good evening. How are you? You're from Newcastle. Tell the people over there do not move. Boycott imminent domain. The airport runaway don't need extending. Steve Mills said, yes, you can build back yourself with your land for real. Okay, this is a conversation between Bobby Jones and Gigi. Then she says, he is always talking about high end and this high end and that. She says again, yes, Banky, I agree. Gigi Williams says, imagine the amount of rich people will flock to that free society to evade taxes. That section may become the new Epstein Island. Bobby Jones says, let's think about the airport project. Cannot pay for itself. We don't have the traffic flow coming into the airport. American Eagle only need, where is that? American Eagle only need, where is it? Only needed the runway to be resurfaced, and the millionaire friend airplane is already landing there. Drew gave the premier 20 million to relocate the people. Guess what? The money will disappear. The people will not move off that land they own for all these years, decades, and Mark will fail again, yet another project. The question they will ask themselves then will be, I should have known better. What you see? Gigi says, our people are really so misguided. It's just really sad. Steve Mills says something is wrong with his brain. Yes, too much, too much coke. Carlisle Parry says them sell out to foreigners and they are spitting on our parents and ancestors. Why can't we have successful local initiatives? Why is the hospital wing not finished and the high school still need maintenance and modernization? Like the local cry says, something's not right. Vote them out. Annette Morton says that's why they need to take their backside out of office and give way to NRP. Gigi says that's so shameful. Bobby Jones says we ain't seen them going into parliament and passing a law to preserve the lands for agriculture or for the local people. If we are going to be giving the lands to foreigners like this, we just need to go ahead and divide up the lands and give it to the working class people. Get it over with and no more land will be left. Game over. I bet you Gigi Williams Keith says, I bet you if a white man come to the Federation and say he wants to put down a cannabis farm, you see how quick the license start dish out. She said, but they all refuse to change. We go back to Annette Morton says, these are the final comments, I think. Annette Morton says, all of them need to leave government and give people a break. And Steve Mills says, good night, guys. It's a pleasure. Stay strong. So, Banky, we and
yes,
I guess we would have witnessed that we have a good bit of other people who are participating and some newcomers and so on who really appreciate you guys. And we hope that you be sure to like the show, share it with, those who you may think, with anybody, your friends, your enemy, anybody.
Of course.
Go over to the YouTube platform, subscribe to the YouTube platform, like the YouTube platform. As you know, Facebook would only keep these videos for about 30 days. So if you want to be able to go back and listen, whether it's months after, weeks after, or whatever it is, subscribe to the YouTube platform. Banky, I'll probably make my final comments and then let you wrap up because we're already on the 2-hour mark. So people, like somebody mentioned and alluded to, I didn't get to comment on this, so I put it into my closing statements. We're really missing the boat. And if we're seeking to develop a cannabis industry, I can't see why the government would want to be burning up cannabis and demonstrating that they're burning up cannabis. There's so many other things that they could be doing, in terms of fighting crime and, being proactive in terms of criminal activities and so on, than to be seeking to demonstrate this level of pushback where cannabis is concerned. And here is it that it puts cannabis in the spotlight, seemingly trying to put it in a negative light, when the reality is cannabis is an industry that can help us to secure and save some of these lands that they're trying to sell and give away, as we are pointing out, through these SSZ zones. And so I think the people, now more than ever, should be agitating for the government to do what they need to do to get this cannabis industry going so that our locals could be empowered. And they should also seek to take a page out of the St. Vincent book where they allocate, I would say, about 2,000 acres on St. Kitts and at least 1,000 acres on Nevis for traditional growers to grow cannabis. And that's only the cannabis side. We need another 2,000 acres now set aside, or even maybe another 6,000 acres set aside for serious agriculture, large-scale, orchard-style agricultural operations, whether you're going to grow 50 or 100 acres of avocado, or you're going to grow 50 or 100 acres of, sugar apple or sour sap, and think of the value-added products that you can have from them and invest in the machinery to create the value-added products and brand it and label it and then seek to market globally. This is what we need to be thinking about. And if the investors want to come, let them come and invest in these things. We could build houses in between the acreage and so on too. And we could have some nice, and while we're doing that, make sure that these lands that these farmers are going to get, that they would not be restricted of building the nice fancy homes on it. They should be able to build the nice luxurious homes. And if they want to have apartments to rent out so that they could have Airbnb and encourage people to come and live on the farm and so on. These are things that we could be doing in an effort to seek to make sure that we save a lot of these lands that our people would have fought so hard for. So as we move on into independence, Banky, as I make my closing statement, as we move on into independence, I hope our people focus on the maintenance of our lands and not be sidetracked and not allow our governments to continue to push this energy, which in essence is seeking to take away their land because they are failing or they have failed in terms of diversifying our economy and is now looking at giving away our lands as last resort to do what we are hiring them to do. So if you're failing, get out of the way and let people who can set the economy up, especially in terms of agriculture. Banky, I know you have put yourself up as, you know, an independent candidate, and we know you can do this. And so we're looking forward to you and the others who are stepping up and seeking to do this. But it will take the people. And so we will continue as we do what we do here on this platform to seek to empower our people and encourage our people to pay attention to Parliament, pay attention to the electoral process, learn about governance, and not get caught up with these people who are playing allegiance to others and not playing allegiance to you. So enough respect, everybody. We look forward to seeing you again next week, next Friday, or next week, Tuesday, on another edition of The Topics. Until then, enough love, everybody. Guidance and protection.
Yes, sir. I just want to thank the listening and viewing audience for participating tonight. We greatly couldn't be doing the show without you guys. We greatly appreciate every time, every second. Even those who tune in late, you can always go back and we watch the show and continue to share the show and people be informed of what's going on here. Because I've been getting a lot of calls from in the diaspora, from Boston, from New York, from different places where people are very highly upset about what's going on in Nevis when it comes to this new development that the Premier and the Prime Minister and the whole concubine. Because I convinced if when we used to go to boys' school, sometimes the guys play joke and haul up your pant and half and stick down your pant. But I believe these guys wearing jeans, you know, they're wearing female underwear. Not a lot of male do wear female underwear because they feel more comfortable for whatever, and some female wear male underwear and stuff like that. But these guys that we have there, they have more female tendencies than anything. And this don't make no sense. My last daughter is 5 years old. Below me is a sugar estate where the Premier and his cabinet and the Minister of Agriculture has given away that sugar estate where they're going to be charging 20 EC for the locals and 20 US to give a tour of our own sugar estate, all the fences in. So go inside there, you have to pay to go inside there. Have a coffee shop they have built and one of the foundation that was remained there on the estate and going to be having a coffee shop or whatever they want to call it, the fancy name cafe, gift shop or whatever, I mean a business. Because that is for the tourism department or the historical society to take care of. Do you hear any expat or any Caucasian living on the island speaking about this new development that the Premier and the whole Prime Minister want to talk about and to develop? We are the only one, the locals, the natives are the only one who talking about. You hear anybody from St. Lucia and the Caribbean islands speaking about these things? No, because it's not their home. They are just here to work. So they have no attachment like that. You see? So when the Premier come and say, oh, some guy calling a guy excavator back one country, oh, we got to get to work. Well, if you build up your own thing, we now get the same work. What he really saying? What are the Premier really saying? The Premier have lost his mind, my virgin. There is 600 acres I've already given away at Newfound for over 20 years. For over the last 20 years, there have been over 20 plus hotel promises that were supposed to come to Nevis from the same CCM government, the Premier and Orlando Vance and this government. Over 20 different hotels. Suppose nothing come yet. The 600 acres I'm talking about, for those who listen to me, from Penny's Beach by Nichols, go up to the Malcolm Gishard Park. Then you cross the road and you go up to Mount Travers. So Travers, Newfound, along with Ward's Estate and Scarborough. Between those estates is more than 3,000 acres of land between them, my virgin. And those land are not for the locals. So how can the Premier is not taking away those land for eminent domain to develop for the locals? Yes, son. I never liked tourism yet. When I learned tourism in grade 5, when Lana Hawkins teaching me about tourism in grade 5 in by school, and they started talking about the disadvantage. You're losing your land. You're losing your beaches. You understand? Your culture going to change. You invent a lot of crime, different type of drugs. All the negatives is worse than the positive, my virgin. So tourism is real estate. They come and want your best land, and they want it by the hundreds of acres. And who you think benefiting? Those within a circle, the lawyers, those into real estate, those the surveyors, is a circle of people within there who benefiting and conning the poor people. They don't care about us. Then they call you the regular person on the street, your warriors and comrades and all kind of nonsense to entertain you. But yet you're getting the most suffering. As I said, my last youth is great. Is gonna be 5 years old next month, the 3rd, you know. And in no way I will sit here and with the Minister of Agriculture and all the rest, the Premier and all of them, and with the fancy language and come and speak and say we're going to have new luxury homes. But let me remind them, where I sit here is a luxury home. Where you sit at yesterday's luxury home, where those who sit at the sound of my voice is a luxury home. Remind the Premier all the homes in Nevis are luxury homes. If he don't live in a luxury home, I don't know. If he don't call his one luxury, but don't use Four Seasons and all these other hotel and things, where they at is better than the people of Nevis or the natives' homes. There is a big difference between the native and citizen. He need to done with it and see the investor is a citizen, he's not a native, with a business. And I want to tell you, Premier, we track that bill along with the Prime Minister of St. Kitts. We send it, apologize and step down, because this town hall he want to have now with the people of Nevis, with the Minister of Agriculture, who have failed agriculture, have done nothing for the 2025. Agriculture producing less food, farmers not getting any help, and the evidence is there. He's giving away the land as the Minister of Agriculture and Housing. He's not building no junk of houses to help, and the demand is high for housing in Nevis. They're not helping the people. They have given away the land in Barnes, got sold to some Chinese man who is the Premier friend. All these guys are their friends. The developers are their friends. The Premier and them go up on all kind of yacht and take all kind of pictures on these yacht. I tell you, so these guys want a private yacht, the own yacht, which costs 300 million. They want their own plane, the next 300 million, that's 600 million US. They still want their own private island. You know, they're going to get it from, must say, judge it. They're giving our land, my people. Your land is your independent. We ancestors never get paid for everything that we have went through, everything every native and St. Nevis has earned. We have fought back and paid the price and get it back into our hand, thanks to our first Premier, Bracha. And now these guys is what want to encourage the development of 2,000 acres of land for non-nationals who come in because they're benefiting because of selling these lands and all these things. People, we know you all know better, and those who have land in those areas, even the airport. I was in thing this week up in, go check with my brethren up in Barnesgate. And Barnesgate people is very upset about this tower the Premier allowed to build up there by this white man, Indian man, whoever it be, it was Zungu, to have a helicopter pad with a restaurant. My brethren, those people who live in Barnesgate and that area, they would not have any peace at night or during the day with a helicopter coming back and forth with a restaurant. It means these people bringing in people back and forth all the time as if it's an airport. How would the people have a peace? The people of Barnesgate need to protest this, as are calling out Rohan Isles, his representative, who is put up himself, and Cleon and all of those within that area of Cotton Ground, because pure nice all getting their head and dress up. Pure nice. They need to break back down that tower need to be broken down, and that's it. That don't need it, because that should have never been passed. So it shows money is what these people is all about. Dead president, dead people, and money. I just want to say, people hold on your land. Your land is independent, and those who don't understand what's going on at Hamilton Estate, drive up to Hamilton, look and see what's going on for yourself, take pictures and send them to your friends and put it on your status, your Facebook, and let your representative Spencer Brand, the Premier, Troy Libod, or the junior ministers, they're not appreciative, and why they're so quiet about this development. And also again, why Fian is not the CEO when he was acting all the time. Why bringing someone from Dominica and put him over those people within the Ministry of Tourism to be the CEO when the gentlemen have been there doing a wonderful job? Devon was there, they get rid of Devon. Fian was there. I mean, this thing, we don't have the love for our people, my brethren. And this thing got to stop. People, Next week, Tuesday, tune in, share the link. And then next week, Friday, we should have a guest where we continue the conversation about agriculture, cannabis, what's going on in St. Kitts at the same time. This same incident with this land policy, it's a law, will also affect St. Kitts and its people. So I don't want to be St. Kitts people be quiet and not think, because you don't know what is in the pipeline already. But right now, they realize there's a serious pushback. Now the people want to consult, and the people don't, not going to show up to this consultation because he lied before. So until next week, Friday, next week, Tuesday, we'll be back, and we greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Continue to share the link and continue to have that interest in your island and hold on your land. And don't be canned, because what we have here is pure can artists. Ira, enough respect. Appreciate you guys. Yes, son?
Yeah, man, enough respect, everybody, guidance and detection. See you guys next week, Tuesday, for another edition of The Topic. See you next week, Friday, for another edition of Everything Agriculture. Remember to share. Enough respect, Real Entertainment team, everybody in the background, Alan, Reese, Ira, Chev, everybody else, Taria, and everybody who do the work behind the scenes. Enough respect to the whole entire Real Entertainment network. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. All of you who are listening to us, who commented, who called in, without you guys, we'd have been talking to ourselves. So we really appreciate all that you guys do. Give thanks, everybody. See you guys next week, Tuesday.
Educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's Everything Agriculture. Hey, this man easy.